All right.
All right, I'm just going to go over a few things before the presentation. So hi everyone, welcome to session 2. This is going to be covering options for post-high school graduation. All the sessions are being recorded, so please make sure that you're muted unless you're speaking. Type any questions that you have into the chat throughout the session, and at the end we will do a Q&A part and all of your questions will be answered. So alumni, I'm going to let all of you kind of introduce yourselves and feel free to start whenever you're ready.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So hello, everyone. Welcome to Options After High School Graduation. Yeah, we're going to be presenting about what awaits your future. Woo. So a little bit about us. So hello, my name is Miriam. I'm currently a junior at Yale University. I'm studying electrical engineering and computer science, and I'm an alumnus of FRC Team 930, and currently I am mentoring FRC Team 7869, which is an FRC team in New Haven, so really close to college, and yeah.
Hello, my name is Andrew Kempen. I'm a senior here at MSOE, and I am studying electrical engineering. I'm an alumni of Core 2062, and I mentor team number 930, McWanago Bears, and More Robotics 1714.
Hello, I'm Julia Sadowitz. I have an associate's degree in metal fabrication and welding from Waukesha County Technical College. I am an alumni from FRC Team 706, the Cyberhawks, and I periodically part-time mentor 706 along with the Robo Tigers 2830.
Hi, I'm Everin Wagner. I'm a current sophomore at MSOE, and I'm studying biomolecular engineering. And I'm alumni of Core 2062 and Team 930, as well as a mentor of Team 930 and 1714 More Robotics.
So we're going to start off with this little thing, a little outline of the presentation. And the key thing to note in this presentation is that options after high school basically are really up to you. It's up to you for you to choose a path that's right for you. No one else is going to tell you what path to choose. So it's a big decision to make. It's kind of daunting, but hopefully we'll shed some of our wisdom and help you guys out with that. Yeah, so we're gonna just start off with talking about the option of entering the workforce right after high school. After that, we're gonna talk about the option of going to technical college after high school. Then if you want to go into a four-year university after high school. And just note that it is possible to take a combination of any of these options. So for instance, you could first go into technical college before enrolling in a university, or as is becoming ever increasing nowadays, taking a gap year, which would be great. And a gap year is just like a good time to just like chill, not worry about school. You could work for that year, get some work experience before you enter college. You can use that year to travel. And yeah, so it's really up to you for you to decide what you want to do.
So I guess the first thing we'll talk about is entering the workforce. So I think this is a pretty great option for some people and a lot of people. I'd just like to start off with a quote. Information is not knowledge. The only source of knowledge is experience. This is from Albert Einstein. I think it rings very true. Wherever you're going and wherever you plan doing in life, there's really no substitute for a real world experience. So if that's doing like an internship or maybe doing like going full time and getting a job somewhere, maybe a company before you go to college or anything like that, the experience you gain from working will be 1,000 times more valuable than any class at any school. So even if it's just like working on personal projects or doing research on your own, like that experience you gain, I have to say is probably more valuable than anything you learn in school. And going along with that, I think it's really good to work in your field before you commit to like a college or like going for like a four-year degree, just so you can ensure that you're going to be happy with what you do. So even if that's just like doing like a little bit of work on the side, like just like searching things on Google and seeing like what kind of things, like as an electrical engineer, what things would I do? Maybe just like looking around and seeing what's out there and seeing what kinds of things electrical engineers work on or whatever degree you're interested in. It's really great doing a little bit of experience and trying things out before you really commit. So definitely would put pretty highly working in the workforce or just working in projects in general. Pretty good option for helping figure out what you want to do with your life.
in addition to just like Google searching, you have mentors. You're all on teams. Mentors have been there, done that. Talk to your mentors. Ask them what their jobs are like if you would be interested in like pursuing that. Yeah, just like interviewing people about like pros and cons of what they like doing at their work, what maybe is not their favorite part about their work, and stuff like that. It's really helpful. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And that leads perfectly into the next slide. So applying to jobs, it's you should really talking to your sponsors, your mentors, and your team's parents. That's like a great way to learn about like different jobs there are in the around your community and that sort of thing. And it's a really great way to get an entry level job. You'd be surprised. I mean, a lot of these mentors and sponsors, like they're sponsoring your team. So like obviously they care about like getting high schoolers engaged in engineering or in science. So like these are great places to look for entry level positions or just like advice. Like I know at least when I was in high school, like I talked to some sponsors and like some mentors, and they kind of told me like about different degree programs, and like some of them actually like gave me like tours of their facilities so I could get like an idea of like what like a day-to-day job in certain degree program would look like. So this is a great resource. You should definitely use your sponsors, your mentors, and just other parents in your team to really get an idea of what things you like. And something I will mention too is a lot of companies look really highly on FIRST experience. So definitely if you're applying for jobs, highly recommend you put it on your resume and talk about it in interviews. FIRST experience is super valuable because it's like actual like real world experience. And you'd be surprised how like directly what you do in FIRST translates to actually working at a company. Like all the same sort of things, all the same sort of problems you have on your FIRST robotics team. Those are the same things that real world companies and real world jobs have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And something else I'll say, we'll say this a lot in this presentation, but apply, apply, apply. So the more places you apply to, even if you don't get in the first place or the second place, like it gives you more options if you apply to more places. So apply, apply, apply.
So technical schools are a great way to be able to test the water before you commit to a career. I know many people who are going through their degrees right now who are like, wow, after going through all this, I really hate what I do. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And it's just a way for you to take some classes and really learn from people who are in the program or who are doing the same thing you're doing, even in the field, to really figure out, is this what I want to do? Some people think, oh, yeah, if I'm an engineer, I'll be in an office all day, but sometimes it's not even the case. I know a lot of engineers at the company I work at spend time on the floor and really take the time with the employees to really figure out how the job can improve. With the lower time commitment, it is great for exploring your options, especially if you're going to do something that's very broad. If you get like a mechanical engineering degree, which can happen at a lot of technical schools, it's a way for you to figure out if you want to try and figure out if that's really where you want to go, or if you're taking that basic engineering knowledge you have and putting it towards a separate engineering career and maybe focusing that down a little more. For a 4-year degree, it's not the only way to be an engineer. Like I just mentioned, I know people at my company who have their associates in engineering, and it was a great way for them to get their way into the field, into the job experience, but not having to spend all of that money. And now the people that I do know who started as an engineer with an associate's in engineering are able to now take those credits that they got at the tech school, transfer it over to a 4-year. It is an option that I did not personally get told a lot in high school that was even an option, but even taking just the basic gen eds that you need for basically any degree, it'll cost maybe a couple $100, and it basically transfers anywhere. Obviously, it depends on what school you go to, but just make sure to look at that as an option. You save money because you don't have to go to a school and pay for room and board. You don't have to worry about how, like, if you fail, because you'll probably most likely still be at home. So your parents will be able to kind of give you that place to figure out if this is the best option for you. And it's also just a lot off of your mental state too, because you don't have to worry about being away from home. And just a reminder, I know this is kind of preached in this field, but I've heard very recently too, if you are stuck in a job like fast food, you know, at this day and age, something like fast food is very essential to what we do every day. It's very a part of our society, even though it's not very highly looked upon. So just a reminder that engineering and computer science is not the only option. It's not the only way to go. So don't feel ashamed if you took the path like I did, where I loved my robotics team. I did as much as possible. But at the end of the day, what made me the happiest and what really pushed me to succeed the furthest in what I'm doing is doing my associates in metal fabrication. And I use a lot of the skills that aren't exactly metal fabrication related that I learned on my first team and are really applying that to my actual job, which just makes me even levels above some of the people in my same degree level and even in my job right now. So this LinkedIn is probably one of the best places to start. Not only do you see where people are in your field or fields you're looking at, you also can see where people are that you probably knew from high school or you met in your first year of college. And it's a great way to kind of see where they're at and see what they're doing and see if that networking and that connection can really help you. It's basically social media. I know one of my friends who also goes to MSOE uses it as a big platforming network that he just posts on all the time and really inspires people through it. And it's a great way to get to know people and what they've accomplished. And if you're going into something like this, like a field where you have to be a little bit more hands-on, temp agencies make the process a lot easier. Basically, a temp agency just kind of reaches out to jobs for you and gives you the options of places in your area that meet a certain criteria. This can be just a temporary, a seasonal, or attempt to hire situation. So it's not always just, oh, I'm going to a job, I'm working there for 6 months, and then they're going to ship me off to something else. A lot of companies are looking for temp to hire to see if you're a good fit. They don't have to worry about hiring somebody, doing all that paperwork, and then they just end up quitting in a month anyways. So it works out for everybody in that situation, and it's a lot easier for you if you're applying to a broad spectrum of places. There are websites such as Indeed that can help you with local opportunities too. If you just look up your basic area and a basic job description, it'll find a lot of different options for you to look and see what's even available, and it'll always list out what like the precursors are, the criteria to apply for a job, and who to reach out to. And just a reminder that a good old-fashioned typed resume with a nice cover letter is always a good place to go. I was very fortunate in my schooling that I had a class that spent a good chunk of time laying out how to fill out a resume and just how to lay it out in what degree you're going into, what job you're going into specifically, and how you formulate it really depends on how the employer is going to read it. And if you lay it out just the right way, it might not even matter if you have all that experience or the schooling that they might want. Even if you lay it out in a specific way, they'll look at you a lot higher than some of the other applicants they might be getting.
All right, so this leads us to what's typically thought of as a college option, the 4-year bachelor's degree at the undergraduate level. And I'm going to echo something first and foremost that we're going to continue to repeat throughout this entire presentation, is there's no one best path. It's going to be what is the best path for you and your experiences. And we aren't going to be able to provide you with that answer specifically because it really depends on what your goals are and who you are as a person. So we'll give you information on that may help potentially with making that decision. So with a 4 years bachelor's degree, it's a 4-year time and financial commitment. So that may or may not be a good option for you because on the one hand, you have more time to make connections in industry and meet more people, meet more potential employers. But at the same point, it's a lot of time that you're committing in case things do not work out as you intend them to. And in the for certain career options, bachelor's degrees are kind of the bare minimum. And usually 4-year universities have more resources than a 2-year institution would have, simply because you're there for such a increased duration. So if you're planning on applying to a four-year university, hang on.
Sorry, my screen froze. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
Wait. Go back. My screen. There we go. Sorry about that.
No worries. There's several different applications. There's the common application, which is used for most universities, especially private institutions and across the state. If you're applying to the UW Wisconsin system, they have a different application. There's QuestBridge, which is definitely an option that you should look into if you have more financial need. You can get some pretty amazing scholarships, including full tuition scholarships from that. And then always check universities that you're interested in to see what they recommend for applying. Some of them have their own options that are specific to their website, and others just use the common app. Also, take a look for fee waivers. A lot of colleges will use that to incentivize you to apply to their school. And I mean, as we've said, apply, apply, apply. Having more options for potential colleges is definitely going to be to your advantage when you're deciding between where you want to be for the next 2 or 4 years. Along with that, another option to pay for college is scholarships and financial aid. Apply, apply, apply for them. FIRST Scholarships has so many of them. I don't know what they're up to right now. It's probably over 80 million, something like that. Every year the number grows as more and more industries jump on, more and more colleges, just because of the FIRST experience that you have. Another option is federal student aid in the FAFSA. We'll get into that later, and different loan options. And then the College Board also has their own profile thing similar to the FAFSA, which also can potentially make you eligible for certain aid. And then universities all have their own specific financial aid offices, and based on your situation or your demographics or what have you, you can be eligible for potential scholarships and aid. So make sure you are applying for those, check the deadlines often. And once you're in college, it continues to. I just applied for one last week. So keep on, be diligent with that, make a giant spreadsheet, do what you have to do to make sure that you get all of those applications in and don't miss them. All right, so as I was mentioning with the FAFSA and college loans, try to avoid them if at all possible. It's kind of like your last resort, because you're probably going to end up paying more money in the long run. If you do take out loans, it's not free money, unfortunately, except for grants, which grants are different. Grants do not need to be paid back, which you can also be eligible for through the FAFSA and your financial situation. And then with loans in particular, there's three kinds of loans. Two that you can potentially get through the FAFSA: subsidized and unsubsidized. Subsidized are better than unsubsidized loans because you don't start gaining interest on them until after you graduate. Whereas unsubsidized loans, they immediately start gaining interest. So for 4 years, you're going to have that 4 additional years of interest that you're already behind on. Which is obviously not great. And then there's also private loans, which you can look at, but usually those will have higher rates than subsidized or unsubsidized loans. There's also options to work studies. So you can work while you're in college. It may not be the easiest thing at times, but it's definitely a potential option to help offset the costs of college.
If I can add something to that too, I know a lot of jobs will give you the option to work for them and sign a contract, and they will actually pay then for you to go to school so they can benefit off you having that education. And that's always an option to look at. It depends obviously on the place. Not everybody does it, but it is a place a lot of companies are starting to add because they see the value in a 4-year education.
Yeah, just to add on to that too, like definitely look into like going to technical college. I have a lot of friends actually who are studying electrical engineering here at MSOE who did maybe 1 or 2 years at a technical college, just kind of like their local community, just to do like all their general classes. And then they go to 4-year college and they do like maybe 2 years of just plain like technical classes. So that way you save a lot of money. You don't have to take your technical class, or you don't have to take your general classes at like an expensive college. You can do it at at a technical college local. So that's definitely a really good option to look into.
For sure, yeah. So now we've kind of given you the rundown of like a few of the big options for after high school. How do you actually choose what to do? It's very daunting. I know. I'm sure we were all pretty like, what are we doing with our lives? It's like the first time we're being told that we can like have the freedom to do what we want. So I'm going to provide a little framework. And is this also going to be helpful for mentors? Because this is a framework that you can use throughout your life, and you can also just like teach it to other students. It's just a good way of thinking about what you want to do. So it's a little principle called design thinking. And it's basically just like using like basically thinking of what you want to do as a problem, just like in robotics. But the way to do this, you have to, it's very like self-reflective. So we're gonna work on a little personal exercise for people. So if you have a piece of paper in front of you or like something to jot down notes, think about the 3 to 5 things that are most important to you. So these are the things that are gonna guide you throughout your life. And it really just helps you pinpoint your values and what you want to do. So maybe you really love learning new things. So if you love learning, you might wanna go into a technical college or a 4-year university to just learn new things. If you especially love working with your hands and like doing a lot of like hands-on work, technical college or entering the workforce may be a great option. Or you might love traveling, exploring new things, experiencing new places. Then you might want to take a gap year before you go into college. So it's just important to note, yeah, like 3 to 5 things that you value a lot. And yeah, just thinking of these, writing these down, really help you focus on areas that matter in your life and what you want to do, because you want to be happy after high school, after college in your life. So you don't want to do things that you find miserable. So that's why it's important to note this, and it's a good exercise. So yeah, on your own time, write this down. You can do it now. It's also a big question. So if you want to do this later, I believe we will share the slide deck afterwards. But that's the first little exercise on this. The second exercise is envisioning what you want to do. What you like, so a little different from like your values, it's what you want to be doing. So on one hand, what's like the typical career path that you kind of like have set in stone-ish in your mind? So what have you been telling everyone who asks you about like what you want to do after high school, what career you want to go into, basically what you want to be doing, what areas you want to work in. Yeah, it could be engineering, could be something else entirely. So yeah. And this one's always interesting, like a dream career path. So if you weren't limited by time or money, what would you like to do? This could be a different answer than the typical career path. And it's honestly very, very interesting. So maybe typical career path, you just want to be an engineer for maybe like a manufacturing company in the area. But maybe the dream career path is like, oh, but what if I maybe for this company I could actually like travel, because I mean not now because of COVID, unfortunately, but normally there are a lot of companies that just let you go different places, because there's a lot of multinational engineering corporations that like actually send employees abroad to different countries to work in those plants, to work in those like businesses, and it'd just be cool to just like learn other cultures, experience the world. So that could be another path. Yeah, so it's ways of thinking about what you want to be doing. And yeah, this could also just include colleges. So you could if you really want to, yeah, just like start off like another thing, bringing in the values. So maybe values can be like friends and family. If you don't want to move too far away, going to technical college and being with your family is a good option. And yeah, and then eventually this can always pivot. Like this is not a set in stone path. This is really for you to think about and for you to keep altering throughout your life, because preferences are going to change. And yeah, so it's just a way of thinking about what you want to be doing. And then finally, the third option, this is probably the most straightforward or a little exercise, is determine what activities you really enjoy doing. So this could be like robotics. You guys are all in robotics. You love doing robotics. So you want to keep doing robotics even throughout college, throughout like after graduating from high school, and like throughout your life. Hopefully you want to keep doing robotics, because robotics is really fun. We all love robotics. And yeah, just like what activities you really like that that you feel good doing. So could be robotics, could be really anything. If you maybe you really like the technical parts of robotics, or maybe you like the business parts of robotics, so like fundraising, advocacy for government and stuff like that. So yeah, this is just ways of thinking what you like to do. Um, little reflective exercise. And the way this all ties in is kind of like a little triangle. So the first exercise helps you like pinpoint what you believe in, what values matter most to you. And that feeds into what you want to be doing. So if a value is learning a lot, you might want to learn to, or like innovate new things, solve problems. You want to maybe create some device that cures like, or like vaccine for COVID, something like that. Maybe not very relevant. Or it could be maybe you want to go into solving climate change and how to make the earth more environmentally friendly. And that could be like that a value that you believe in, solving plot problems, and that turns into what you want to be doing in your career. And yeah, like after high school, what path you want to go down. And then that feeds into who you are. So what you like doing. So maybe you really enjoy the technical side, so you can go down that path. Or maybe you're more fond of like the business side, so you can also go down that path. You want to make sure that whatever path you go down is a personal fit for you. And yeah, and then of course what you enjoy, or like who you are, feeds into what you believe. So yeah, just a framework for, once again, for thinking about what you want to do. And this isn't just for after high school. This is, yeah, you can do this throughout your life, throughout your career. And yeah, for mentors on this call, you can maybe use this and just like get at these areas to just get students thinking about what they want to do after high school, because as everyone else on this call has mentioned already, really choosing, you have to choose a path that's right for you. And that's the most important thing. So yeah, hope this exercise was helpful. We'll send the slides out. So just a cool little way to think about what you want to do. So yeah, true happiness comes from designing a life that works for you. Once again, it's very important. You want to be happy. You want to do stuff that really matters to you and that you feel good about, and then you feel you're contributing a lot to. So awesome. So back into the more nitty gritty of how to choose what you want to do after high school.
Yeah, so when you're touring colleges, this is a big thing. Maybe not so much this year with the whole virtual COVID situation, but like the thing you want to be really looking for is like looking at like campus and student culture. It's a little harder when you're online, so but you want to look at like class format. This is something you can maybe find online about like a certain college you're interested in. So maybe like, do they have big classes? Do they have small classes? There's a whole variety of different things there. Something else to look at too, if you're touring a college, maybe virtually, is like look at like what facilities and amenities they have and what places they have to study and hang out. Like certain colleges will have lots of like really nice facilities. They'll have like maker spaces and like machine shops and all kinds of really cool, awesome places where you can really do personal projects and work on things. And then some other colleges might be more like business focused and like be more like just about classes. So they might not have those amenities. So that's something to look out for when looking at colleges. Something else is just like, do you picture yourself as a future student at this college? So do you see yourself like fitting in? Does it seem like the kind of culture you're like interested in? Seem like a cool place, like where you can learn and do cool things? So something else to look at is research labs. So this is more of a bigger thing when you're looking at graduate schools after undergraduate, but looking at like what research labs a certain college has. So like if you're like, let's just say you're really interested in biomolecular engineering or something, and you're really interested in like micro machines and that sort of thing, maybe looking for a college that has like a research lab that's focusing on that sort of thing. That would be super cool to look at and something you should definitely consider when looking at colleges. And then, yeah, just in general, resources for students. That's like a big thing. It's like looking at like if they have like maker labs where you can like work on cool projects and things, and like innovation center, that sort of thing. So
Yeah, I would just like to add to that real quickly. If at all possible, I know the whole COVID situation complicates things, but you really want to go and see the colleges that you're looking at. Potentially, maybe this summer, if colleges start offering tours again, there's really no substitute for being there in person. I mean, you can look on their website and go through the virtual tours, but you're not going to get an idea of what it's going to be like. And you're going to be there for the next 2 to 4 years of your life. And I personally went and toured the 5 top colleges that I had found. And I found that at least 2 of them, I decided I was not going there just by being on campus and seeing what they had and talking to some people. I decided that they weren't the right fit for me. So um, definitely, if at all possible, if not a tour, try talking with current students, see what they think of the college, try to find someone in your major, and try to make those connections. That way, you know you're making the right choice.
Yeah, that's a really good point you bring up, Evan. Like talking to the students that actually go to the college, that's like a really great way to get like a true like what people think of that college. Because a lot of times the tours, they'll show you all the nice shiny things, but they won't show you the nitty gritty details. And when you talk to the students, they'll tell you exactly what they think of their college. So if you can like sit in with the class or like go like the lunchroom and like talk to people, that's like a really great way to see what the college is actually like. So in choosing colleges, what college to apply to, there's like really like the principle you want to follow is having a dream, a target, and safety colleges. So dream colleges, so you might have a list of these colleges. I definitely recommend writing this down so you can keep track of like when their admission deadlines and things are. But basically the idea is you want to have like dream colleges. So that's the idea. These are like colleges that are like really highly competitive and have low admission rates. So like MIT, Yale, Harvard, those kinds of like Ivy League schools. So maybe if you're really interested in those colleges, write those down as your dream colleges. Then have target colleges. So these are like ones that you're like, they're not quite dream schools, but they're like cool colleges that maybe not an Ivy League, but like that you would like be interested in getting into. So this is maybe like one step below dream. And then there's safety. So always definitely recommend having some safety colleges. So maybe it's a local college, or maybe it's like a college that has like really high admission rates, just so you have something like, because I know it's really stressful when you get all your acceptances back, and having like a college you can like when you get all your dream colleges and they don't accept you, which tends to happen, you can look back and be like, hey, I'm in this other college already. Like I don't have to worry about this stuff. Like worst case, I don't get into all these dream schools, all my target schools. I have my safety school. So it just alleviates a lot of stress. So even if you're not even actually thinking about going to the school, it's definitely a good idea to have a safety school or two when you're applying.
You want to have options.
Yes. So yeah, when deciding what college to attend, so I think personally that a lot of choosing what college you go to is like a matter of if you think it's a personal fit and what the campus culture is, what the location is. So if you're really interested in like checking out other parts of like the US, or maybe not even in the US, other countries, this can be a really good option for helping you decide what college to attend. So looking at the location, looking at like if you're looking for like an internship or something, looking for like an area where there's a lot of that kind of like job available. So like if you're interested in like really like tech schools or like technical jobs and like maybe like programming sort of things, you might go to like one of the coasts or something and try to find a college like maybe in Boston or something like that, where there's a lot of like options available for internships and sort of thing like that. Something else to look at is availability of resources. So look at what clubs the colleges offer. With smaller colleges, you probably won't have as many clubs, so that's something to keep in mind. But look at like classes. So something really good to do is look at like the undergraduate catalog for your major at a certain college. Check out what classes there are. If there's a bunch of classes that sound interesting at a certain college, like, hey, that might be a good reason to go there, because those classes, you know, they'll have professors that will be able to teach those things, and those are like great resources for if you want to learn those things, you can talk to your professors or take those classes. And then yeah, just programs and interests. So if they have like a certain program, like maybe they have like an honors program that's super cool, or they have like other like a lot of colleges will have like special business programs you can go into and take. So if you're interested in like entrepreneurship, maybe the college might have like a special entrepreneurship like program that you can take. So I just like to say, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what school you go to. Like, I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on like choosing like, how do I get the right college? But at the end of the day, it's really what you make of your college experience that makes all the difference. So it's what you do with your time at the college, what people you talk to, what you do in your free time that really makes all the difference. You can go to no-name school and like, it might not be like the best school, but like if you do things on your side and like you do internships and things, like that can put you like right at the same level as somebody who went to MIT or something. So it's, and like the same is true for if you go to MIT. Like if you go to MIT and you don't do things in your free time, like when you apply to jobs, like people will look down and be like, yeah, this person went to a cool school, but they didn't do much in their free time. And that's probably going to actually weight you lower than somebody who went to a college, which you might not have heard of, but they did all these cool things and did internships and worked on projects and clubs and things. So it's really what you make of your college experience that makes all the difference. Something I thought I should mention is robotics after high school. So as you're looking into college, like there's definitely places where you can still do robotics in college. A lot of colleges have FIRST alumni organizations. So even companies, so like a lot of companies will have FIRST alumni organizations where they'll maybe like get together and do like mentoring, that sort of thing. So definitely look into those organizations. Look into like mentoring local FIRST teams. While you're in college, it's a great way to reinforce your what you've learned in college is to like teach and work with other students and teach those skills you're learning. So it's really rewarding and really impactful. So I definitely recommend that. And also look at collegiate robotics competitions. There might not be FIRST for college specifically, but there's other kinds of competitions. Like there's VexU, which is good competition, NASA robotics mining competition, Formula SAE, and many others that I didn't mention. So definitely look into those and see if the college you're going to has that sort of thing, so you can still be involved with robotics. And yeah, definitely try volunteer at competitions. It's always really awesome to see alumni come back and volunteer at competitions. A great way to stay in touch with the community and still do robotics.
And a thing with volunteering too, since I graduated from FRC, I was able to start volunteering more with FLL and FTC just to learn more about the different levels of FIRST. And that was a great way for me to network and get to know different people who are from around the country and have got to know different circuits. And that also just introduced me to different job opportunities as well. So even if you might think, oh, FLL is kind of lame, it's for kids, you know, what am I going to benefit from that? A lot of the people you get to know through those programs have a wide range of knowledge that you wouldn't even think to even consider. And that might even lead you to your dream job too. So even just consider volunteering, and it makes you feel good. I love volunteering, and I'm sure the other people in this area love volunteering too. And it's a great way to just get to know people and network.
Yeah, so thank you so much for coming, for listening. We are all here to answer any questions you have, so thanks.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. So at this time, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We do have lunch after this, so if there are enough questions and the presenters are willing to stay on a little bit afterwards, we can continue answering questions a little bit past the hour. So any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat.
Okay, so I got a private question. The question is, why did I choose Yale over other top colleges for engineering? So I got in, so the top 3 colleges that I was, actually four colleges that I was considering when I got in was Yale, Carnegie Mellon, Cornell, and Johns Hopkins. So I had a tough decision to make between those 4. And I ended up choosing between like Cornell and Carnegie Mellon, since they're very similar, and Cornell has a very good engineering program as well. I ended up choosing, or like thinking about going into Carnegie Mellon over Cornell, because Cornell's kind of like in the middle of nowhere. Poor Cornell. And it's a good school though. And honestly, a lot of times people from the city loved going there because it's like, they've always grown up around people. So it's kind of weird to grow up in like a rural setting. But since, well, like the area I'm from in Wisconsin is not super, like it's close to Milwaukee, but it's different from like a city vibe. I just wanted to like go to a college with a city vibe, because it's not, I never grew up like around like the city per se. So I just wanted to like get that vibe and just like, yeah, have like a cool places to go to outside of like the college campus. Yeah, just like exploring the city. And then between those three, Johns Hopkins, Carnegie Mellon, Yale, I really love Johns Hopkins. I love visiting there. I love the culture. The thing about their engineering program though is it's very heavily focused on biomedical engineering. Personally, I'm not that interested in biomedical engineering. But honestly, if I was interested in biomedical engineering, I probably would have chosen Johns Hopkins just because the program is that strong. But outside of that, it felt like the other parts of the engineering program wasn't as strong, or like in terms of compared to like biomedical engineering. So that's why I ended up not wanting to go to Johns Hopkins. And then between Carnegie Mellon and Yale, that was definitely a tough decision. I ended up choosing Yale though because I love a lot of things outside of engineering. And like Yale has that liberal arts experience that I really do enjoy. And Carnegie Mellon, like it does have other schools, but it's a little more focused solely on engineering. But at Yale, outside of engineering, I do a lot of like performing arts. I'm in a consulting club on campus. I learn a lot of like social sciences, humanities, hear from like guest speakers that are like experts, not just in engineering, but also in like other aspects. Like, yeah, like law school, honestly, like stuff like that. Like, and just getting to network, getting to hear from those people, and like having that like interdisciplinary part, I really enjoyed that. So that's why I ended up choosing Yale or Carnegie Mellon, just because I would get to explore my interests outside of engineering a bit. But yeah.
Yeah, so question in the chat, do student to faculty ratios make a difference when choosing college? I personally think it makes a big difference. Like going to MSOE, like one of the nice things about MSOE is like they're like the classes are really small. Like when we say our biggest lecture hall is like 40 people, we are actually serious. Like all of our classes are very like personal, and like you get to know the professors really nice. And I think personally that's a really nice thing, like compared to like other schools like UWM, Madison, where they have like massive classes, like 200 people. Like you don't really get to know your professors. So I think that's definitely something to look at. It's definitely really nice if you want to do research and things, you get to know your professors and they can be awesome resources for learning things. And if you get stuck, you can ask them. It's like they know your name and you know their name, and it's awesome because of that smaller class size. So definitely something to look at. So.
However, at the same point, don't get hung up on, oh, someone has an 8-to-1 student ratio versus a 10-to-1 student ratio, student faculty ratio. Those differences aren't going to matter as much. What you want to look at specifically for you is you want to figure out if you like the big lecture halls where you can kind of blend in, or do you want to personally get to know your professors? So when you make that decision, then you're going to have to look at specifically what major you're looking at and what classes you're going to be taking at those colleges.
And if you really want a close student to faculty ratio, again, tech schools, because I maybe had in any of my classes maximum of 20, 25 people. And that's if they like really jam-packed it for some weird scheduling issue. Like that was even in gen eds, I probably never had more than 20 people in a classroom, and it took a lot of that, the focus away from whatever they're teaching, and really then was focused then on what are student questions, because they had all that free time to answer whoever had a problem.
Yeah, any other questions anybody has? Yeah, if people have questions of like about our specific colleges that we went to, we can definitely answer those too.
Otherwise, if you guys think of some other question later on, or you want to ask us about something, our emails are on the screen. We put them there so that way you guys can contact us and just shoot us a quick email. We can send you one back. We would be happy to share from our experiences or try to help you figure out what's going on.
Yeah, we've all been through the process. We know how stressful it can be applying to different colleges and things. So feel free to use us if you have questions at any point about like, what is all this stuff? Like, we can definitely help explain that stuff. I know they don't really explain it a lot of times in colleges, and they'll pass around all these terms and things. Like, feel free to email us if you have questions about that sort of stuff. So.
And you guys also have the fun thing with dealing with the pandemic situation, what different colleges are doing. Education looks a lot different now than it did last year at this time. So if you have questions about that too, we can answer those, what our colleges are specifically doing in regards to that.
I mean, if nobody has any questions, I would like to mention though, all of us have had experience with an FRC team. We know how stressful and the commitment is, and we also have experience doing mentoring and volunteering outside of that in college. And if you do end up deciding that is the path you want to go, there is an unwritten rule that if you're doing your own, if you're going to mentor your own team or a team you're very emotionally connected to, make sure you have a gap year, not only for yourself, but for the team as well to kind of grow. And it definitely helps with you focusing on what you want to do with your education and not just kind of focusing on what happened, but make sure you can then better yourself. So that way, when you do come back to a team or you do start mentoring other teams, it really helps them then because you have all that information backed up in your little pocketbook of information to really bring to the table and really help them as well.
College is a great time to explore, so definitely recommend you look into other teams and see what type of culture they have and see how that compares to your team. Like, I know me personally, my mind was blown when I went from core to more robotics and just seeing the culture difference and like being able to see like the advantages of both different teams and like being able to compare those, like definitely showed me a lot about like what FIRST is, and you'd be surprised. So
Yeah, and then to take those experiences and help use them to improve the teams that you're mentoring. And with that experience, you can share, hey, we did this, it didn't work out so well. Maybe we could try this instead. Or we did this thing that was really good. So.
There's another question that someone asked. What classes do we take in high school to prepare for college? If your high school has APs, definitely recommend taking them if you want to go down that university for your degree route. I took 17 APs in high school. Don't be me. That was insane. I cried, but it's okay. We survived. But yeah, but definitely take APs in areas that you're interested in. So if you want like AP physics, that's good for like engineering and stuff too. AP computer science is amazing. I actually only took computer science principles. I never took AP Java. So definitely recommend going into that. I wish I would have taken AP Java in high school because I did not. Yeah, there's also, I believe high schools have co-ops in high school for technical colleges, or you can get credit. Yeah, take advantage of that. Like that's cool. I know people who did that. Julie could probably speak a little bit more to it, and other people too. But yeah, well, that's a good option.
Yes. So AP classes for sure. It's helped. Andrew can maybe talk a little bit more about what AP classes has done for him. But as you were mentioning, co-op programs in the state of Wisconsin, if you exhaust all of the courses in a particular topic offered at your high school, you can take them for free at the collegiate level. For example, I took some math classes at Carroll University, and because of that, I came into MSOE like 2 or 3 math classes away from a math minor. So definitely having those can save you a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of stress in college if you want, potentially reducing the course load if you want. So
yeah, definitely like taking APs is good. You can do dual enrollment. I think maybe Julia's about to talk about that. I'll just mention that, but dual enrollment is super cool. Basically what you can do in the state of Wisconsin is if you've like exhausted the classes at your college, you can go to at your high school, you can go to a college and take advanced classes, and those are like actual college classes. So you can get like transfer credit to go to college. And I know me personally, I took a lot of APs. I don't think I took quite as many as Miriam. I think I took like maybe like 15 or something, but like through my APs and dual enrollment, I was able to get out of a full year of college. So like this is my 3rd year here at MSOE, but you notice I'm a senior, so that's something you can definitely look into doing too. So
yeah, and touching on what both of them kind of said, there are programs. I know this might not be for everybody. I haven't really looked into it to verify everybody has this option, but with Arrowhead specifically, we had different options where there was a an option where you could work while you were still in high school and get high school credits for not being there. So you could also build money and get that job experience, and you don't have to really commit to anything because you pretty much in that class just had to like write some papers and some updates to the school actually verifying you were learning something on the job. Arrowhead as well had an option with WCTC directly that you could learn classes at WCTC for free that didn't have to directly relate to what you're learning in high school in any way. And they had, if they had the option, or if they have the time, obviously they can't like throw you into a college degree in the high school level and be like, yeah, you're going to be fine. They obviously work it out with you so it's not too overwhelming. And I know some kids went into the same program that I'm in. I didn't do this obviously, and I wish I did, but they basically went into their first year of outside of high school, basically having half of their associates done because they were able to work that out, and it was paid for, you know, which helps with the money thing too. I see, unless anyone else has anything to add, there's another question. You good? Chime in if you can help. Tyler says, high schools also usually have youth apprenticeships, real world experience, and potential class credits. Tyler, man, you know what you're talking about. I would just like to point you out. Thank you for adding that in if we did not get to it. That also means then that you are really looking into your options and you know some stuff, which I definitely did not even know. Like, I did not get told from anybody in my high school that I could have gone to WCTC and learned stuff ahead of time for free. I only learned that out like halfway through my senior year when it was too late to even do anything. So definitely ask those questions, even if it's to somebody like the school psychologist. They might even know something like that. It's kind of well known within their circuit, but not so well known to the student circuit.
So in regards to those like internships, I actually had an internship for the past or the last 2 years of my high school education, so my junior and my senior year, where I got 2 or 3 credits every semester for that. And the great thing is that it's paid. It's a paid position, so I was earning money for college, and it's real world hands-on experience at an industry. I was at an international printing company called Quad Graphics, and I got to go and see the entire process of how a company runs on an international scale. So definitely something that you may want to consider. I learned personally things that I wanted to do and things that I didn't want to do from that experience. So yes, definitely another potential option for you to look into in high school.
Yeah, kind of along that same line, like one of the best things I have to say I did like in high school, like besides all the APs and things, that was great and all, but the best thing by far was getting an internship in high school and being able to like work on a job and be like I first started out with my job. It was a little company called Hydrothermal. But I started off doing just like mechanical engineering work, and like I did that for like a few weeks, and then I realized like, oh, this is not for me. I don't like this sort of thing. So I went over to the electrical department and I started doing that, and I worked with some of the engineers there, like doing the same work they were doing. I was like, hey, this stuff is great. I love this stuff. So that's kind of why I went into electrical engineering, is because of that internship. And even after that internship helped me a lot, because my first year of college, I was able to like put that on my resume and be like, yeah, I've had an internship before. And like going to the career fair, a lot of companies are like, well, you've had an internship before. This is great. So I was able to get another internship my second year, and then another one my last summer. And actually, I just got a job at my dream company, SpaceX, just because of all my internship experience. So like, even though I might not have gone to like an MIT or anything like that, like the experience helped me along. So, and then so question from in the chat. So did I approach the company, or did the internship come from me? So what I actually did was our school like had like a co-op / internship program like that you could sign up for as a class, and then people from the school would help you, like they would connect you with like companies that would you would interview with, and then but like the school kind of did like the facilitation of that, and that was super cool because they set me up with Hydrothermal, and I did an interview and they liked me, so then I was able to get a job there. So yeah, I did that I think my senior year, which was super awesome. But yeah, I mean, definitely approach companies. Like all these teams, all these companies that sponsor your FRC team, like I mean, they sponsor your teams. Obviously, they like working with high schoolers and want to teach high schoolers. So like if you see a company on your sponsor list or like other team sponsor lists, like definitely reach out to them and like see if you have contacts to your team and like see if they can get you an interview or something. Like that's a great way to get some experience. I would highly suggest looking at internship.
Yeah, in my situation, at least at the high school level, during the summer, I went around and actually physically went company to company from those lists and introduced myself, handed them my resume, my cover letter, applied to probably 4 or 5 different places before I ended up at Quad Graphics. Which also is a really good experience because it's kind of low stakes interview experience, even if it doesn't work out. Just learning how to talk to other people and communicate what you've learned through FIRST and all your other experiences is definitely something that's really valuable and not something that's commonly taught. So yes, definitely highly recommend looking into that if you're at all interested.
Awesome. If you have any last questions, put them in the chat now. We'll keep it open for maybe a couple more minutes. Otherwise, as everyone who has presented has mentioned, feel free to send emails to them with any additional questions that you might think of after this session. All right, I am going to take it as there are no additional questions at this moment. So thank you everyone who presented. Thank you everyone who participated and asked questions, and we're here to learn. Right now you can pause for lunch. So we have a little bit of a break. I think it's until about 12:30. I could be wrong on that. So go grab a snack, take a walk, get a stretch, whatever you need. And then we will join back in the main room at 12:30. Thank you all.